Welcome to DragonWorks. 1986 Honda CR125 two-stroke motocross machine. Customer bought this as kind of a project, and then he quickly found out that it's a little bit above him, his ability or what have you, because when you push on this doohickey with your foot, nothing happens. Engine won't move. So could be top end, could be transmission related, could be the kicker itself is jammed. But once I was telling the customer all them different things it could be, then he mentioned that the guy might have mentioned something about the piston was seized in here. So I'm pretty sure that's what we got going on here. But of course we have to investigate. So obviously, he said it had sat for a long time, so I was hoping maybe the rings were stuck. And I soaked it down when he first dropped it off while I worked on another engine there a little bit. And then I came over and I gave it, you know, a little push like everybody else does. Just a little pressure, nothing. I went over on the other side. I put the bike in gear and I took a bar and I tried to move the sprocket, see if I could dislodge a transmission, you know, both ways. No go, nothing's moving. So now we're at the point where the piston is all the way at the top. Well, not all the way, pretty close. Otherwise, I'd stick my bore scope down in there and look at a cylinder. But with this bike, once I make sure all the coolant's out, I can just pop these hoses off of here, pop this head off real quick and look right in there. Maybe see something, maybe not. You know, that part of the cylinder might be good. The damage might be down below, but either way, he wants to find out what it is and how much it's going to be and if it's worth rebuilding. So join me, shall you? Okay, so one thing you'll notice is that piston is not all beat up. Sorry about the glare. See how the piston's not all beat up? That's just carbon on there. I wiped most of it off. But I ran those numbers on the piston, and it's a Wiseco 40 over piston. So it's already been rebuilt, probably not done correctly. This is the head, and you see the damage in the head. So apparently they had some problems and rebuilt it, and that didn't work out. The piston is just in here, kind of hard to tell. But it shouldn't be moving like that. It just wobbles all around in there. I got a feeling the damage is down below, probably one of those ports or something. But anyway, the search continues. What is wrong with this CR125? Let's see. All right. Also, you saw how much that piston was slapping around in there. They have a little movement, but that's a little bit much there. More than it should be, but I wanted to talk about this boot. I can see where a lot of the problems have been coming from. They were definitely leaning this motor out from time to time. That may be where their first problem came from. Maybe again, because by the looks of this, so they got electrical tape and some kind of glue or epoxy or something on this boot. You can see it's all cracked up already. So most likely they were running it real lean both times. They're like, man, why does this motor keep blowing up? Maybe because I'm not getting any lubrication. Anyway, let me get her torn apart here and we'll see what's going on. Okay, folks, to my surprise, it's not the piston in the cylinder that's locking it up. Now, the piston does have some pretty good scratches and a groove. It almost looks like there might have been a little piece of debris stuck in there once upon a time. And I mean, of course, this isn't too old. Let me see. I probably can't get a good shot in the cylinder here, but it's a little scratched up. Yeah, can't get a good shot. It's oily. I was trying to run my finger over the scratches, my fingernail, but it does have some pretty good scratches in it. Not sure yet. I'm going to have to really dig into that to see if that's even any good anymore. Like I said, it's already 40 over. See if I can go 60. I don't know. We'll have to see about that. But as I was saying, this sucker's still locked up. So the next move will be to remove this cover, see if it's in the kick mechanism or flywheel here or something in there. And hopefully we'll find it there and don't have to tear the motor apart. Something simple. This might turn out okay. I don't know. He's still going to need quite a bit of work. But, well, I don't know. We'll see. We don't want to get the cart before the horse here. So, yeah, next move will be taking that cover off right there and seeing if something's locked up right there. Okay. All right, guys. It's a good thing I'm filming this because if I told you, you would not believe it. So, I was, like I said, I'm about to take this side cover off. So, you got to remove the water pump propeller that you can see there all corroded up. Here's the cover. So you take that off first, and then there's a shaft running through this cover, and you have to get the nut off, pull the propeller off, then you take your Kickstarter off, and then at that time you can loosen all your outer bolts and pull this whole cover off. That was my next move. Well, when I spotted, sorry about the fingers, when I spotted that propeller, I was like, what in the world? I believe it's just old antifreeze. Probably not the kind you should have in here. But anyway, I cleaned this nut off so I could get my wrench on it. And, man, I had to put a lot of pressure on it, but check this out. See that piston in the background? Here, let me back up so you can see what I'm doing here. Look at that. The engine's freed up now. This was stuck. I mean, I had to really rear down on it. And usually what you can do is you can kind of give it a quick jerk, especially if the motor's locked up. This nut usually comes right off. Well, it's really corroded. But in trying to get this nut off, I actually freed the motor up. And I believe it was all just right here, all that corrosion. I'm almost certain of it. I haven't turned the whole thing over all the way yet because you know, I gotta hold the piston. I can't hold the camera. I gotta hold this straight up and down, and I'll try and turn it. But I could not believe that, so I just had to get it on film. I guess you probably already saw. I probably flashed a picture up what I found there. If not, I'll flash it up there again on the screen. But that now the engine's moving after all that, and let me tell you something. Yeah, look at that. Can't believe it. Let me tell you something. I thought maybe the kicker might have been stuck or the transmission was kind of like stuck partially in gear or something internally. So what I tried to do to help the guy out real quick was I put there's no chain on it right now or sprocket or anything. They were disassembling this thing, I guess, to rebuild it and said to heck with it, and this guy bought it or something. But I'm getting ready to tell you really what I think here. Hey, you're going to really like that. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So I put this in gear, 5th gear. That way it turns the engine the easiest. And I tried with a pry bar to go back and forth on the sprocket here to turn the engine. And it wouldn't budge either way. I even put a punch on this gear because this sprocket shot anyway. And I tried tapping it both ways, giving it a little bit of force. Like I say, I'm trying to dislodge the gears because I was thinking maybe that's what's going on because the top end wasn't locked up. Maybe it's just kind of lodged in gear or something. Just trying to get as much diagnosis as I could so I could call the customer and tell him what's going on. And then he knows where he stands. But I put a good bit of pressure on this thing and could not budge it. And I cannot believe, now the customer and I both tried to kickstart this thing. You know, I put some good pressure on there to see if it would even budge. And then, like I say, and then when that didn't happen, I tried to turn the motor backwards a little bit to see if it would dislodge. And it all boils down to this damn corroded water pump right here was what was holding it. So what I'm thinking, okay, so that brings us to another point, and now I'm not too worried about this thing flopping around, but if you remember earlier, So somebody, this is 40 over Wiseco piston. I looked up the number there, repeating myself. And like I said, you can see where it was wearing pretty good. So what I'm afraid of here, oh, here, I got the cylinder right here. If you saw in the other video, I was moving that piston back and forth. It was moving a lot, way more than it's supposed to. So I got a feeling that somebody might have did their own bore job, or whoever bored it didn't have the piston with them or something. I got a feeling that this thing was a little bit big to begin with, but it certainly has some wear. It's hard to see. Again, I didn't, hold on one second here, let me do you a solid here. Stand by. Got my rag right here. Let me wipe this oil out so maybe you can finally see what I'm talking about. But there is some pretty good wear in this cylinder. It's kind of scratched up here. Okay, I didn't do you a real good solid, but I'm holding this one hand in the camera with the other. But what you can see is some lines right there in the center, and that's actually grooved pretty good. And then it's in the top as well, and you can see pretty good wear. And I'll do a better video. Yeah, right. You can see the wear inside that cylinder if you're interested. So I believe whoever rebuilt this top end a while back did a poor job. Something happened. I mean, I can feel this is pretty groovy. It's groovy, man. You can actually, here, let me do it this way. That piston is scarred up. See the little lines going up and down? Well, now they're going side to side because I got the camera sideways. But you can see the lines going, meow. Sorry about that. Hey, one day I'll get this videoing part down. But yeah, it's scratched up pretty good. So that means that there was a lot of compression slipping past there. So it probably, that's what probably did it, is they wore it back out again. It doesn't look like it was rebuilt long before that happened. Yes and no. But anyway, I think that they lost compression. It wasn't running, and it's just been sitting forever. And then the previous, oh, let me zoom back out. Sorry. Previous owner sold it to my customer after it probably sat for years with old antifreeze in it. And yeah, that stuff, that automotive, the green stuff or whatever, it's okay to use that temporarily, and it's okay to use it if the bike stays running, but you don't want it to really sit in there for a long amount of time. If the bike's going to be sitting or stored or something, get that stuff out of there. I'd say that's the culprit, and or they put some kind of something in there, stop leak. I don't believe so. I believe it's just old antifreeze or something. But that's what it was. That small little propeller, and when I finally get it out of there, you'll see it's just a little aluminum propeller. That thing had this whole engine locked up. So good and bad. Not sure yet, because what? Obviously, people are trying to avoid having to buy new pistons and cylinders or have them bored. This one's already bored 40 over, and I'll have to see if we can go any more with what we got. So, even though this is what had the engine locked up, there was still a problem that started this whole thing. And it gets pretty expensive. And these guys, they buy these dirt bikes cheap and want to get them running cheap. And there is nothing cheap about a Nicocell cylinder. You can get a sleeve and put in there and go back to the original piston. That might be the best route. But we'll still have to press the sleeve in. Yeah. Either way, not good. I have to get with the customer and see what he says. But so that's what had it locked up. But I wasn't there. I don't know. But by the looks of everything else and the wear, I think it just lost compression. Probably quit running, or was getting hard to start or whatever, and it got put to the side and forgotten about, and now here we are trying to piece the story together. All right, guys, crazy situation, but this is the kind of stuff I run into every day. 1986 Honda CR125. I'll let you know what's up. I'll get with the customer to see if we're going to rebuild this thing or if he may try something else. Thanks for watching and peace out.